You're watching The Buzz, where we hit your faves with five rapid fire questions. And today I'm buzzing with excitement to chat with the anime daddy himself, one half of the Sakura Society, Brendan White.
Hello, Jamie. It is great to be back on a microphone with you, dude.
It's been a while, yeah. How's things on the Sakura Society going?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Keeping very busy with a slew of content dropping every other day at the moment. Started to finally try my hand at like little sort of shorts and reels and what have you after years of people asking and requesting. I'm like, you know what? I can't stop arguing and resisting anymore. So I'm dipping a toe into that world. Hating it occasionally, trying to be a little bit memey and sort of trend like on trend and things like that. Makes it a little on the nose, at least for me. But I'm having fun with it, man. I'm having fun.
Fair enough. So, over on the Sakura Society, you cover all things anime. So, obviously, first up, I have to hit you with the big question. What are your top three anime shows of all time?
Okay, this is tough. I appreciate that you're coming out swinging straight off the bat here because this is a question that can be very divisive and can really upset some of the anime super fans out there. But I'll sort of go high level, and if you wanted me to circle back and give you like a little single sentence pitch on each one of them, I'm happy to do so. But I know this is the buzz, and we're talking sort of rapid fire stuff. So my number one anime of all time is a 22 episode banger out in 2014 called Your Line April. Love it. Breaks my heart every time. I don't think I've cried so much in such a consistent period of time. I was watching that anime. Number two, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, done by Studio Bones, released in 2009. Universally known as one of the GOATs, and I can't dispute that in any way, shape, or form. And then number three, Violet Evergarden is my third. 13 episodes, a couple of OVAs, and a couple of films out in 2018. Again, drama, heartfelt, war themes, gorgeously animated. And I just wanted to give an honorable mention really quick because it could end up being in the top three if the way it keeps going that I think it is. And that's Dandadan, which is only in its second season, debuted in 2024, done by Science Saru. It just is a melting pot of everything I love. I enjoy the manga so much, and it's one of my favorite reads and watches in all of media. So I wanted to shout that one out as well. But they're my top three/4 because I stuck one in because that's what I do.
Very nice. Is there like a through line that ties those all together that's why they're Brendan coded?
And not really, to be honest. And that's a great question. Like, I'm very broad with my tastes in media, whether it be film, anime, TV, books, video games, music. Like, I think if there's a good story or a good hook or a good character, or if there's some romance, I'm a sucker for romance. And a couple of the ones I just mentioned do have some romantic notes through them, but it's more so just good storytelling. If there's a good story or a good MC or a good antagonist that you can root for or understand their means and motives, like that's usually the hook for me. That's the Brendan coding, I'd say, Jamie.
Very nice. So, also following your socials, you're known to enjoy a good meal. So, if you sort of knew this is my final day on Earth, what would be Brendan's sort of dream menu for the day?
Again, this is tough. This is almost like when you ask, like same with the anime, where you ask a parent like, "Who's your favorite child?" It feels like that, where I'm trying to, like, I've got 24 hours to live. I need to fill my belly with just all the best things. So I've sort of gone away and had to think, and I've sort of broken it down into like segments. So I've got breakfast, brunch, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and dessert. So that way I can sort of canvas as many tasty treats as possible. So breakfast, I'm going to start with either like omerice with curry sauce or a nice traditional bacon, scrambled eggs, and toast with some freshly squeezed OJ. I love just the simplicity of bacon, eggs, and toast with a bit of butter on there. Shifting into brunch, I wanted to shout out Moon, which is one of my favorite bites in all of Melbourne, and they do a cruller, which is like a European take on a churro donut, super buttery, super airy, and they've got a vanilla flavored one, which I would murder for. Like it is that good. So one of those and an oat latte for my brunch. Shifting to lunch, this is where it gets hard though, Jamie, because like I mentioned with like favorite children, I was torn here between like I love a burger, a lot of my personality and former food bloggy posts were all about burgers. So some form of good bacon and cheese smash patty would never go astray. But I'm also debating like some really good American barbecue. Like you get that brisket that just is fatty and buttery and just falls apart in your hands, in your mouth with some sides. Um, so depending on the mood, coin toss for those. But either way, it's going to be accompanied by a glass bottle of Coke, which I think is the best way to have Coca Cola. Shifting into afternoon tea, simplifying it, we're going to try and sort of digest a little bit here. So just a nice cup of tea and a few Tim Tam double coats, which I think is maybe my favorite biscuit out there. I don't know if you've got a preference on Tim Tams, but I feel the double coat is sort of the superior Tim Tam in the family. Do you agree, or are you going to go a little bit left of centre there before I shift to dinner and dessert?
I'm just a regular Tim Tam guy.
Okay,
I'm not a huge chocolate guy to begin with, so just a regular Tim Tam's plenty enough for me.
that's fair. That's fair. And yeah, I'm not a huge chocolate guy as well, but I don't know what it is with a Tim Tam double coat, but it is like chocolate crack those things, and I'm going to have one with the tea after this. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I
Shifting to
think there's
dinner.
some in the fridge. I might go and have one afterwards.
There you go. There you go. Moving into dinner. This was again hard because there's so much good food, man. To just narrow it down to like 4 or 5 major meals in my final 24 hours was tough. But I've settled on some form of succulent Chinese meal here, Jamie.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Filled with
Yes.
xiaolong bao, pot stickers, fried rice, exo beans, prawn toast, chow mein, like just all of the MSG, all of the meat, all of the rice, all of the carbs, and obviously a nice steady supply of prawn chips on the side. I think that's a perfect dinner, and then I'm going to end that with a nice slice of lemon meringue pie, which is my favorite dessert.
Very nice. Yeah, I love a good Chinese meal. I'm surprised there wasn't a ramen in there. Like,
I debated ramen. I even debated like sort of going broad brush Italian because then I could get pasta, I could get pizza, I could get a whole host of other really nice, tasty bites as well. But I'm just such a sucker for a good Chinese meal like you are as well, Jamie. Like, and it's very nostalgic. Like that was one of our like big time family sort of weekend treat meals, a big Chinese meal. There was a place in the town I grew up in called Double Luck, and it was $8 all you can eat as a kid. And you bet I ate everything. Like it was such ridiculous value. The Chinese maybe wasn't the best quality, but it was fantastic for $8.
yeah, I feel like if I had to choose my menu for the final 24 hours, I'd probably just eat myself to death.
I thought that too. I'm like, do you just say I'm just going to keep eating and just rattle off everything like some fried chicken or whatever else? But I thought I'll break it down in a way that I think I could eat that entire serving that I just mentioned throughout that day.
So then, if we blend those two loves of food and anime in a sort of sommelier fashion, can you give me three sort of anime and food pairings that you think would complement each other perfectly?
Again, another fantastic question. It depends on like because anime and food goes together like hand in glove a lot of the time, and food in anime, like animated or drawn food, just makes me salivate so much. So there's so much good crossover in anime with food as sort of just a vessel to not only develop and forward plot, but also just make me hungry. But I thought at first pizza, preferably Pizza Hut here because this is just a direct anime based reference where Code Geass had an official like Pizza Hut sponsorship in the anime itself, and you see one of the main characters, Cece, constantly eating Pizza Hut. So I always sort of have those two attachments together, and pizza's just great. Didn't get to mention earlier in my final meal, so I was getting to mention it now. Another one, I'm thinking like anything hearty, like a stew or a ramen or a curry, like you mentioned earlier, with an anime that I really love called Restaurant to Another World, which is like this super cozy fantasy story about this restaurant that's only open like in very short periods of time throughout the week. But in that opening period, all these doors and gateways to other worlds are open. So you get all these people from all kinds of walks of life, humanoids, magicians, warriors, beasts, whatever. And they all come in and have like these delicious meals. So I think something hearty, something's going to stick to your bones, as they say, I believe, would be really great. And the last one, I was just thinking like my general anime binge sessions. So this could sort of accompany any good anime, and it's usually just a savory snack. Like you mentioned, I'm not a big chocolate guy, but I love a good savory snack. So like cinema style popcorn is a favorite of mine. Cheese Supreme Doritos with a good French onion dip is such a goat
Yep.
tier like viewing snack. You do get a little bit of messy fingers, that's fine. But also like cheese and bacon shapes, taro chips, which is something that I've recently discovered from the Asian grocer, which are fantastic. And then lastly, And it's good these last ones. They've still remained pretty cost competitive because you go to Woolies and Coles these days, and the cost of snacks is just through the roof. Where the old Nong Shim onion ring flavored chips, they are still maybe around $2 a packet, and they are delightful. So that's my sort of sommelier sort of blending of food and anime coming together.
So our fourth question for the day. Your co-host on the Sakura Society, Courtney, is a big cosplayer. If you were to do an anime cosplay, who would you be?
Tough question, very tough question. Firstly, shout out to Courtney, the best, love you. Um, but I think cosplay, like I love it, but the thought of doing it really does terrify me because I go to a lot of conventions, I see a lot of cool stuff online, and there is so many talented people making the most incredible looks and just replicating these characters from screen to reality. And I go, man, how could I ever compete with that? Like, I'm just in awe sometimes walking around some of these cons. But if I had to choose somebody, I think I'm going to go with Kafka Hibino from Kaiju number 8. He's a fellow 30 something like myself, chasing a dream, doing all he can for the people around him, just trying to be a good dude. So I feel there's a lot of sort of similarity and crossover with his sort of personality type and the way he sees the world and the way he goes about things. So him, I feel, but because with Kafka, he can turn into a kaiju, maybe like a half human aesthetic Kafka with some of that kaiju form sort of coming through as well. I think that's my dream cosplay.
Yeah, cool. It's yeah, like cosplayers, nobody kind of half-asses it.
No,
Everybody goes all out all the time, and it is pretty crazy to see when you go to these conventions and stuff.
exactly.
So, as we look ahead, what are your top recommendations on things to look out for the rest of the year?
Again, fantastic question. I'm going to sort of backpedal on this one slightly as well because we're halfway through the summer season for anime. Like, obviously it's still winter here in the southern hemisphere, but the rest of the world, northern. So it's the summer season. And so I wanted to mention, even though we're at the halfway point, quick shout out to the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, My Dress Up Darling, Kaiju number 8, Gachi Yakura, and Call of the Night, which I am loving the second or debut seasons of some of those. But if we're looking beyond, into the future for the rest of 2025. Season 3 of One Punch Man finally comes out. Like season 2 debuted like 6 years ago, so it's been a bit of a
Oh
long
wow!
wait for the third season of that one. The final season of My Hero Academia airs in a couple of months' time, which is going to be fantastic. Season 2 of Ranma One Half comes out later this year, which is a great remake from an anime from the 80s, which is so funny and so absurd and so great. Also, 3Z Ginpachi Sensei comes out in a few months, which is a spin off of one of the best comedy sci fis around called Gintama, where you see Ginpachi in this new spin off as a teacher. So that's going to be just maximum madness and chaos and shenanigans, I'm sure. And then a couple of movies. So we've got Chainsaw Man, the movie, the Reze movie arc coming out in a couple of months' time. And also then the first of 3 Demon Slayer films. So we've got Infinity Castle, Akaza Returns coming out here in AU next month. It's obviously out in Japan at the moment, getting a lot of praise, making a lot of money. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff to not only watch right now, but watch throughout the rest of 2025 because they are some monsters.
Yeah, I just saw the English speaking cast announced for the Demon Slayer movies. They look interesting choices.
Yeah, I was very surprised seeing Channing Tatum get a mention playing like he's going to be playing just sort of like a bit character, but it's really cool because he's actually a super fan of Demon Slayer. I did an interview with Alex, who voices one of the characters from Demon Slayer, and they've had some really good candid conversations together about their love for that franchise. So now seeing Channing Tatum get immortalized in Demon Slayer in the English dub is going to be fantastic.
Alrighty. Thank you, Brendan, for joining me in the hive. Where is the best place for people to join your creative colony?
Oh, that is an excellent question. You can find me on the socials everywhere at More Than Senpai. That's all one word. You can find all the content we're doing collectively at sakurasociety.co. And you can also check out a heap of the video content, not only on the at More Than Senpai um, social links, but also I've just set up a new YouTube account just for sort of my own stuff where you can go youtube.com/at anime is for everyone. So find us on all those little platforms. If you can rate, review, subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you want to see more of your faves spill the goods, hit follow and catch me on the next drop of The Hive.